Hello and welcome back to Story Stash. I'm your host Duncan, and these are some of my stories I've written. Today I'm reading from my book Ghost Whisperer, and this is chapter 26. So let's get started. Chapter 26. And what would ye be meaning by that? Is that be some kind of insult? Asked the short gentleman. Ed realized he was looking at a leprechaun. He searched his thoughts for information on leprechauns. One thing he recalled: to offend one is a serious mistake. Sorry, I didn't mean you personally. I've had some strange encounters while going out for lunch. I should have expected to meet you here. You come to this pub not expecting to meet me? Now that's grand. Why wouldn't I be here? I'm so sorry. I've never been here before. My friend asked me to come and try it. I had no expectations of this place. So you're not after me pot of gold? Heck no. I just came to fetch an extra chair. They only had one chair at the other table, and my friend took that. I'm a wee bit titchy on that matter. You surprise me. Most who discover me are after me gold. Or at least 3 wishes. Sir, I only came for a chair. You can keep your gold and your wishes. Well then, you'd best take a chair with you and be off. I'll forgive ye impertinence this time. Thank you, sir, said Ed. He took the chair back to Blake. Ed, you sure took a long time finding a chair, he said. Sorry, I got distracted. Yes, it's hard to take you to lunch. I think working on all those bug fixes can mess with my brain. I can't stop thinking about them, even after we leave the office, said Ed, hoping his story would satisfy Blake. Soon they ordered their meal. Blake also ordered a Guinness. Ed avoided alcohol as he was driving. Blake enjoyed his meal, especially the Guinness. Occasionally Ed glanced toward the table in the corner. The leprechaun sat there smoking his pipe and watched him with a glint in his eye. It made Ed nervous. When Ed could stand it no more, he stood. Hey Ed, where are you going? Asked Blake. I'll be right back. Ed went over to the bar and ordered a glass of their finest Irish whiskey. He carried it to the table in the corner. Excuse me, sir. I believe we had a poor start. I'm really sorry, and I got this for you as a peace offering. He placed the glass of whiskey in front of the leprechaun. The leprechaun looked up at Ed. Fair play, I accept your peace offering. The leprechaun picked up the glass of whiskey and drank it in one go. Ed looked around. If the leprechaun was invisible, he wondered how it looked to the other patrons. They can't see anything unless I want them to. Except for you. You're the only person in this place I can't control, he said. Oh, okay, I didn't know that. How do you like the food? It's good, thank you. Go on, afore ye friend misses ye, he said. Okay, it was nice meeting you, sir. Ed backed away and went back to Blake. He deliberately didn't look over toward the corner, not wanting to draw attention to the leprechaun or himself. He hoped the leprechaun would forget him and move on to other things. Ed drove Blake back to work. They returned to their cubicles and resumed their respective work. Ed focused on his software bug fixes. He wanted to improve his score, as he might have to leave work. It happened multiple times recently. So far, his outstanding performance with software bug fixes had earned him an understanding boss. He wanted that to continue. At quitting time, Ed closed his computer and left for his car. He drove to Ellen's mansion. The security guard at the gate waved him through. Ellen was outside already, talking with her security detail. Ed parked in front of the SUV and stepped out. Are you ready for our next assignment? A haunted classroom? Asked Ed. Sure. They got in Ed's car and drove out, followed by the SUV. About half an hour later, they parked in a parking lot at the Seattle Central College. Ed and Ellen exited the car, as did the security detail. The entourage walked to the entrance, where they met Bob Wilkins, the deputy principal. "Hello, Ed. Glad you could make it. I didn't expect you'd bring a team," said Bob. "Oh, this is my partner, Ellen. These are her security detail. The security detail will keep out of our way, but remain close enough to protect Ellen." "Ah, please follow me. I'll take you to the classroom." They all followed Bob Wilkins along corridors until they reached the door to the classroom. Bob used a key to open the door. "I kept the room locked, as I don't want trouble." "Understood. I'll go in and look first. Ellen, can you wait here?" "Sure," said Ellen. Ed opened the door and stepped inside. He switched on the light and scanned the room. "Hello, my name is Ed," he said. Ed stood and waited. Soon, the spectral form of a young woman appeared in front of a storage cabinet. Ed faced her. "Hello, my name is Ed. I'm here to help you." "Hello? You can see me?" she asked. "Yes, I'm a medicine man. I can see ghosts." The ghost floated towards Ed. "I don't recall what happened to me. I was a student attending this college." "Okay. Is there some reason you're here?" "I don't know. It looks familiar." "Are you able to leave the room?" "No." "Okay, that tells me something. Do you know what's inside that cabinet?" asked Ed. "No, I don't know." Ed walked towards the storage cabinet. He noticed the cabinet had more than one padlock on it. "Could you please look inside the cabinet? It's important." The ghost floated towards the cabinet and stuck her head through the door. A moment later she pulled back with a look of horror showing. "My body is inside." "That explains why you can't leave this room. We need to give your body a proper funeral. Then you'll be free." "Okay. I'll step outside and talk to someone. I promise you things will improve." Ed turned and left the room. He closed the door behind him. "Mr. Wilkins, please can you lock this door again?" "Sure." Bob locked the classroom door. "This room is now a crime scene. I need you to call the police. Someone hid the remains of a female student inside a locked storage cabinet. That suggests a murder was committed here." "Oh, wow. Let's go to my office. We can make the call from there." They followed Bob Wilkins to his office. He made the call. "Ellen, please go home with your security detail. You didn't enter the classroom, and you don't need to get involved," said Ed. "Sure, that's a good idea. Come on, guys," she said to her security detail. Ellen and her security detail left, leaving Ed with Bob. Ed took out his phone and called Officer Urey. "Hello, Ed. Are you anywhere near Seattle Central College? We've discovered a crime scene with a murdered female student. I asked the vice principal to call the police, but I doubt they'll understand things. I need you to vouch for me," said Ed. "Sure, I'll be there soon." The call ended. Ed turned to Bob. "I called a police officer who knows me and can vouch for me." "Okay, well the police will arrive soon." "This will take a while. Do you have some bolt cutters?" "We'll need to remove the padlocks once the police arrive." "Sure, I'll get them from the janitor. Please wait here." Ed sat in the vice principal's office. Bob Wilkins, the deputy principal, returned after about 5 minutes with bolt cutters. "Now, we wait for the police. Should we meet them at the main entrance?" asked Ed. "Good idea." Ed and Bob left his office for the main entrance. Bob carried the bolt cutters. 10 minutes later, the police arrived, including Officer Urey. Ed shook hands with his friend. Soon, Bob led the way. Ed and the police followed. They stopped outside the classroom door. So, the body of a dead student is inside? Asked a police officer. Yes, it's locked inside a storage cabinet in the corner, said Ed. I brought the bolt cutters so you can remove the padlocks, said Bob. The police officer put on rubber gloves as Bob unlocked the door. Ed stood near Officer Urey and waited. The police officer took the bolt cutters and entered the classroom. A few minutes later he returned to the corridor. Yeah, there's a dead body in the cabinet. Lock down this area. I'll call in the detectives and CSI techs. More waiting. The police officer approached Ed. Mr. Tanner, you said you were the first to discover the body? But the cabinet was locked. Yes, I talked to the ghost of the deceased who helped locate her remains, said Ed. You what? I talked to the ghost. I've a good mind to arrest you for interfering with a police investigation. Excuse me, Officer Gilbert. Mr. Tanner is a medicine man and a member of the Duwamish Nation. He speaks with spirits, said Officer Urey. Officer Gilbert looked at Officer Urey. He didn't like being interrupted when threatening Ed. He returned to looking at Ed. I don't believe in spirits or psychic mumbo-jumbo. You didn't see the body, but you knew it was in the cabinet. Yes, officer. Then I had the vice principal lock the room, and we called you, said Ed. And what's your connection to this college? The vice principal invited me to come here. I've never been here before. That's right. I asked Ed to investigate this classroom for ghosts, said Bob Wilkins. Very well. This is highly irregular, Mr. Wilkins. I'll need a list of female students that dropped out or went missing. We need to find a name for the victim, said Officer Gilbert. I could just ask her for her spirit if you like, said Ed. No, you've done enough already. This is a crime scene and access is restricted. Okay, then I'm done here. Officer Gilbert handed Ed a business card. I'll need you to fill in a formal statement. We'll also take your fingerprints for exclusion. I can help with that, said Officer Urey. Officer Urey took Ed's arm and guided him away from the scene. He doesn't need you anymore, and he can't pin the murder charge on you. Let's get you out of here. Thanks. They left through the main entrance. Lots of additional police and CSI techs were entering as they left. Ed returned to his car and drove home. Once Ed returned home, he called Ellen. Ed, what happened? You've been ages, she said. I had to wait for the police. We showed them the remains of the female student. They had lots of questions, said Ed. Are you okay? Do you need my attorney? No, I had Officer Urey to vouch for me. Smart move. But then I thought you'd come visit me. I've had a busy day, so I went home. Perhaps we could talk on the phone instead. Sure, whatever, she said. Ed didn't notice the change in her tone. I hope the police can handle this case. Then the case is over for us. They have the remains. It's what they do. It was likely a former student. I think so. Her killer probably assumed the locks on the cabinet would prevent others from finding her body. Agreed. I'm glad I didn't touch the storage cabinet. None of my fingerprints are on it. You have nothing to worry about. Right. Hey, at lunch I met a leprechaun. I visited this Irish pub for lunch with my coworker. Wow, spirits seem to be everywhere you go. Are you certain you're okay? Leprechauns are like evil or mischievous spirits, asked Ellen. I won't return to that pub. I didn't share my name or where to find me. Good. I can't protect you from evil spirits. So far, I've been fortunate. Most spirits I've met are good or neutral. I can't afford to lose you, Ed. Then I'll try to survive. I'm exhausted. Can I call you tomorrow? Sure. Good night, dear. You called me dear. Well, you're dear to me. Ed ended the call before it got too mushy. At the local cemetery, Sarah met with the late Michael Clark. They floated above his tombstone. It's done. Your wife is no longer seeing the fake psychic, she said. Good. I'm relieved that parasite is out of her life. Thank you for your help. It was mostly Ed and a fun-loving poltergeist who made it happen. Also, I left the poltergeist to torment the fake psychic until he leaves town. He won't make any income in Seattle. Well, please thank them for me. Sure. Can you move on now? I don't know yet. I think I'll stay here for a bit. Once I move on, I don't think I can return. I want to be certain Catherine is okay. Understood. Take all the time you want. Another ghost floated over. It wore a chain, and Sarah recognized him. Hello, Sarah. Hey, how are you doing? Have you found a worthy cause yet? Asked Sarah. About that. I decided I want to keep my chain. Chains are cool. I can rattle it to scare people. Oh? There's no need to register your name if you find a worthy cause. You can help someone and keep your chain. Okay, as long as I can keep my chain. The ghost floated away. I hadn't expected that outcome, said Sarah. Then she realized no one was there to hear her. Sarah ascended and flew off towards police headquarters. Next morning, Ed awoke in his apartment. He showered, dressed, and got a coffee. Ed sat on the sofa and sipped his coffee. He thought of Ellen and smiled. "'Tis a fine morning, is it not?" said the leprechaun. Whoa! Ed nearly spilled his coffee on himself. The leprechaun sat on a chair facing him. "I'm sorry I startled ye. It took me some time to find ye, and I lost track of time." "You were looking for me?" asked Ed. "I was. You see, after I left the pub, I asked myself, who was that? Perhaps we can do a deal." "You want something from me?" "Maybe. How about we make a trade?" "Okay, but I don't know what I have to trade with you." "Well, you got me some gold. I'll get you something equal value." "I don't carry gold with me. I'll have to buy some." "You has 24 hours to get me some gold, and I'll be back here. If you don't have me some gold, I might have to curse ye." "I really don't want to curse. How much gold are we talking about?" "I'll leave that to ye. The more ye bring, the more I bring." "Okay, thank you, sir." "Ye be more than welcome. I'll see you tomorrow." The leprechaun disappeared. "Now I got a real problem," said Ed. He soon prepared and departed for work. Ed arrived at work, but his mind wasn't on software bug fixes. He had to get gold to appease the leprechaun. The clock was ticking. "Hey, Blake." Blake stood up and looked over the cubicle wall. "Yes, Ed? Do you know where I can buy gold?" "As in gold bullion? Do you want gold bars or coins?" asked Blake. "I don't know. It's new to me." "Well, I'd suggest MJ Bullion. They're in town. Remember to take cash, as they don't accept credit cards." "Okay, thanks." "And gold is a currency, so you don't buy gold. It's a simple currency exchange. There's no sales tax." "That's good to know. Thanks." Ed looked up the address of the gold bullion dealer and prepared to leave work. "Hey, Blake." "Yes, I'm going out for a while. If anyone is looking for me, I'll be back soon." "Okay." Ed left work and drove to his bank. Ed visited his bank first, where he kept the safe deposit box. Once he opened his box, he looked at the pile of cash. He wasn't sure how much gold cost, but he knew it wasn't cheap. He took 2 stacks of bills and closed the box. Soon, Ed was on his way to the bullion broker. Ed parked on the street outside MJ Bullion. Their security was quite impressive. "Hello, sir. How may I help you today?" asked the salesman behind the counter. "I need to buy some gold. I'm sorry, but I'm new to this." "No worries. Do you want bars or coins? Do you have a budget in mind?" Ed took out the 2 stacks of bills and placed them on the counter. The salesman's eyes widened at this. Ed was now a qualified buyer. "You wouldn't have any Irish gold coins, would you?" asked Ed. "Just a moment, I'll check our inventory." A few minutes later he came back with a velvet-lined tray of coins. "These are all Irish coins with the euro face. If you want older coins, they come at a premium because of their collectible value." "No, I don't need that. These are all 1-ounce coins. We sell them at the spot price for gold. You just decide how many coins and which ones." "Okay." Ed selected 6 coins, and the salesman calculated the price. Ed handed him the amount in cash. The salesman gave him a small pouch for the coins. After that, Ed returned to his car and drove back to work. Now he had gold. Well, we've come to the end of chapter 26. Next episode we have chapter 27. Ed makes a trade with the leprechaun. He gets a pair of shoes. Ed and Ellen visit the Snoqualmie gathering. Hope to see you next episode. Bye.